Today we're going to talk about 7 mistakes that I've made when planning Disney World trips. One of the primary motivations for starting this business 10.5 years ago was that I really wanted to teach other people things that I had learned in my own planning process. And over the last 10 years, I have continued to learn and make mistakes. And in fact, one of the best ways to tell which mistakes I've made are the things that I tend to bring up the most. And so that is why I'm so passionate about videos like this, because I want to make sure that you learn from me and that you can save yourself some trouble. Mistake number 1, not allowing enough time for transportation. Especially if you've never been to Disney World, you will not understand quite how big it is. It is the size of San Francisco, twice the size of Manhattan. So it can be really easy to make plans that are sort of back to back without realizing how much time it's going to take to get from point A to point B. You do need to allow generally for at least 60 minutes because like if you're using buses, you need to wait for the bus to arrive and then to ride the bus to get to your destination. Sometimes even up to 90 minutes depending on where you are coming from and going to. But mistake number 1 is not allowing enough time for transportation. So make sure that when you're making your plans that you're building that into your schedule. Mistake number 2, which is kind of related to number 1, is eating all over the place. Now, because Disney World is so big, it is very tricky to get to different dining spots if it's not located near where you are. It is very tempting to hear about something really great and be like, yes, I think that's where we're going to eat during our trip, but without realizing where it is relative to where you're going to be. So instead, what we recommend is that you make plans for your trip, where you're going to be each day, and then decide where you want to eat based on that, because you're going to need to pick things that are relatively convenient or allow yourself enough time to get there. That is why we recommend that you do this in our planning process, because if you decide where you're going to be and then choose your dining, you're going to save a lot of time in transport getting to and from your reservations. Mistake number 3 is planning way too much. So we can promise you one thing, you are not going to do everything during your Disney World trip. In fact, it took us years, maybe 10 plus years, to do all of the attractions in the parks. It is just not possible. And so what we would suggest that you do instead is to combine plans with flexibility during your trip. Maybe a few hours of plans where you're like, these are the attractions we're going to try to hit the first few hours of the day, and then leave it open the rest of the day. And anything you do after that is kind of a bonus. Because for instance, if you spend your morning doing attractions and then at lunch, you're like, you know what, we're really tired, we need a break. Or you are full of energy and want to keep going, or you want to go swimming, or you want to rewrite attractions that you really enjoyed, you can decide then what to do. And that sort of gives you some flexibility there. So we really do recommend that you plan some things like your most top priority, high priority things that you want to get done during your trip, and leave some time open the rest of the day to decide how it goes based on how you're feeling, the weather, etc. Mistake number 4 is not using PhotoPass photographers. Now this is one of the perks of Disney World trips, is that you can have pictures taken with the whole family quite easily. PhotoPass photographers will take pictures of you with their own cameras, and you can buy it later, or you can hand them your own camera and have them take it for you. And this way everybody's in the picture and not just the person who's usually the photographer being left out of the family photo. So be sure to stop for those. Even if you don't purchase Memory Maker, which gives you all of the photos that you can download from your trip, you can still get your pictures taken and download 1 or 2 that you can purchase by themselves, but you can definitely give them your phone or your own camera to take pictures, which is obviously free. Mistake number 5 is booking flights based on cost alone. Now, when you are buying multiple tickets, cost is obviously a huge factor in choosing your flights, but we really think it should be a combination, if you can, of price and schedule, because that can really affect how your trip goes. Our first family Disney World trip, I booked the cheapest flights, and it was flights that weren't direct, and we live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, so direct flights are easy to find usually. And we ended up stuck in O'Hare overnight with toddlers, and it was just a really terrible way to end a trip. So if you can, prioritize direct flights if they're available to you, or pick a schedule that is going to be convenient. But obviously you're going to have to balance that with the cost of the flights and make the best decision for your family. Mistake number 6 is not making any time for your resort. Now, the Disney World resorts all vary in their amenities, but they all have pools and fun things to do. And so a lot of people don't make any time for that. And the truth is, especially if you're a family with little ones, that the pools are sometimes the thing the kids love the most. And so we do really recommend that you build in some time to spend at the resorts. If you do what I said earlier and plan like half a day or a few hours of your day and then leave it open, you may find that what everybody wants to do is to go back to the resort and maybe spend some time swimming or relaxing at the resort, eating there, just to have kind of a relaxing time. It's kind of a shame to book a resort that has a lot of fun things available and then have no time to enjoy it. So make sure you build that into your plans. And lastly, mistake number 7 is forgetting to make dining reservations or not realizing how important they are. So one of the things about Disney World is it's very competitive, and that especially is true during times of dining, like character dining or popular meals. So you want to make sure to get those. If you're staying on site, make sure you get those 60 days ahead of time before your trip begins. You can do them all at once. Or even if you are less than 60 days out, you can keep trying to make reservations, and there are lots of alert tools available online where you can set up alerts to let you know when openings come up. But don't show up to Disney World without any dining reservations, because you may find yourself disappointed that you're not able to eat in the places that you would like to. And that wraps up our list of 7 mistakes that we have made during our trips. I'm sure there are so many others that other people have made. I would love to hear from you what yours are in the comments. Thanks for watching.